in this series on how I record, edit, and mix my personal audiobooks, I'd like to share with you my personal recording tips and techniques for recording high-quality professional audio every time you sit down to record. Come on, let's check it out. In this video, I'm going to do something a little special. I'm really just going to read through this article that I wrote about almost 20 years ago. Can you believe it? It's called My Personal Recording Tips and Techniques for Recording High-Quality Professional Audio Recordings Every Time. Now, I'll leave a link to this Google Doc article in the description box if you want to read it yourself and really just pay closer attention because it's an actual article. For our purposes, I'm just going to gloss over some of the main points in just a few minutes because once you're introduced to these techniques and tips, I think they're going to resonate with you pretty quickly. And a few of them might be a repeat from maybe a past video tutorial I had in this series, but it's okay. You can never hear it enough. Okay, that being said, let's get started. This is such a great article. In fact, when I wrote this about 20 years ago, there was nothing on the subject. And I bet even today, well, maybe, still, when you go through all of this information and you take it all in, I bet you might say to yourself, there is nowhere on earth I could really go to get this much concise information on how to record high quality audio with these professional recording tips and techniques. Only the Bart man's got it. So with that said, let's get started. All right, my personal recording tips and techniques for high quality professional audio recordings every time. When it comes to recording audio, trust me, you only want to have to record it once. Therefore, it's a great idea to learn how to record great audio by learning from the experience of others. Here are a number of great audio recording tips you can consider when recording your next audio product. Number one, and I'm just going to, like I said, gloss over these main points. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. You can do that on your own if you want. But just by glossing over the main points, you're going to be like, this makes sense. So number one, warm up body facial muscles. So true. Warming up your body and facial muscles before recording any audio is a great idea. Number one, sit or lie down and just catch your breath. Recording has a lot to do with the air we breathe in and out, and we can't be out of breath when we're recording. Oh, I just got in from being out and just came back from a jog and no. Catch your breath, close your eyes, breathe deeply, just relax. Yeah, good stuff. Warm up number two, stand up, stretch and reach for the sky. Stretch those arms and hands into the air. Stretch your lungs, your mind, and your body. Warm up number three, stretch your facial muscles, while standing or sitting. Open up your mouth wide. Stretch those lips and cheek tissues wide and far. Open and close your mouth several times in a circular motion, maybe to stretch your cheek tissues, lips, and mouth. Good. Oh, well, I feel kind of warmed up. Number two, vocalize or, voice warm-ups. After you stretch a bit, your body and your mind and your mouth, it's time to warm up your voice and articulation talents. So these are just a couple of warm-up tips. We got warm-up number one, glide from your lowest to your highest note on the word ah to exercise your vocal cords. Voice warm-up number two, glide from a comfortable high note to your lowest note on the word ah. And voice warm-up number three, read anything out loud. It could be your own book or just something on your desk or just even a news article on the internet. It doesn't matter. Just start moving those lips and articulating sounds and reading words. Read a few lines into the microphone, record it, and then play it back. How do you sound? All right, this is a biggie. And I talked about this earlier in a previous video. Number three, don't breathe into the microphone. Don't breathe into the microphone. We want to hear your words, not your breathing. So to test this, what I do is I record the audio and then I kind of play it back. Okay, I'm not too out of breath. And any of these breaths that you see here, the yellow indicators below show where this person's breath was heard and recorded into the audio recording. Not good. After a while, listeners will begin to think this speaker is out of breath every time they want to say something. Can these breath marks be edited out? You bet. And they should for a clear sounding audio recording all the way. If you have heard and watched all of my videos, you will probably say to yourself, they're very clean, they're very clear, they're very devoid of any breaths. And that's the truth. I painstakingly go through the whole audio for every video and I edit the breaths out. I tell you, the pain on my side of doing that meticulously, breath by breath by breath by breath, taking them out. Yeah, it might be a lot of work on my part, but the finished product is amazing when the listener doesn't have to hear you breathe. They just hear the words spoken, So keep that in mind. Good stuff. Another thing is when you talk into your microphone, p. You say certain words with P's and B's. How are they sounding? Because if you are too close to the microphone, you'll be getting these kinds of very, like I said, too close to the microphone sounds. P, b. Not good. This is good. P, b. Perfect recorded sound with your mouth at just the right distance from the microphone. Good stuff. Number 4, pace and tempo. Hey, don't feel rushed when you record. Don't talk too fast into the microphone so that your words actually blend together on the same audio track, making it hard for you to edit later because your words just run together and right after the other. Yikes. Instead, speak clearly with your words spoken almost independently from one another. Tonality. The tonality you use in your speaking voice should come across clear, smooth, and calm every time. Nothing high-pitched, nothing too low-sounding. Record yourself and then just listen to the playback. How do you sound? Would you like to hear that voice for an hour or two, depending on how long your audiobook is? Practice makes perfect. You can work on your voice. Almost all voices can be trained. If you have a very high-pitched voice, you can eventually learn to bring it down by slowing down and purposefully, mindfully, with intention, speak in a way that practice great tonality. Even when you speak away from the microphone, be practicing on the telephone, in person, in speeches. Practice, practice, practice everywhere. Enunciation. By definition, the word enunciate means to pronounce words, speak. Okay. The word enunciate means to pronounce words, speak aloud, to state or set forth precisely or systematically articulate. Okay, that's actually a mouthful. The point is make sure that your words are understood, that you speak each word clearly, and without question, people understand what you're saying. Don't mumble. Don't pronounce words that are hard to pronounce wrongly and leave them in the audio. In fact, I have this very fond memory of when I was recording Laws of the Bedroom, and there was a particular wine that was recommended. Take your date and create a nice evening, blah, blah, blah. Well, this particular wine had a name to it that I could not pronounce. Oh my God. I remember reading it and going what? I had to practice that word a few times to get it right. So if there are difficult words in your book, just read them a couple times, a few times, many times until they come natural to you when you read them. But it's important to enunciate and pronounce every word correctly. Don't come across as a Rudy Poo, that you don't know anything and you can't read. All right. Projection. Number 7. Speak clearly with intonation and with sufficient volume. Make sure your mouth is close enough to speak into the microphone and you're picked up well by the microphone without being too close. Play back your recording. Does the recording sound all right to you? Make adjustments if it's not. Number 8. Record with feeling, meaning, influence, and real enthusiasm. It's just not the words people hear when they listen to your audio recording, but how you say what it is that you have to say that draws them closer. How you say what you want to say in your audio recordings is just as important as to what you say. Learn to read into the microphone with feeling and without sounding like you're just reading into the microphone and this takes practice. It will come to you, no worries. Picture this while you're reading. Glance ahead. No. Number 9, think before you speak. This is very true. In fact, one of the best ways to create really great audio is to think before you speak. Get behind what you're going to say emotionally. Be very mindful of any word or set of words you might repeat often. And another thing about this is if I'm just starting out, and I think I get into this somewhere in this report, the first chapter is the most important audio piece to be recorded in the entire book because you're starting the listener off with your voice. Well, read, and this goes for every chapter, but read the first few sentences again and again and again and again and again and again and again until they're so ingrained in you that you could go, one of the best ways to create really great audio is to think before you speak. Really, with careful consideration to A, what you will say in your audio recording, and B, how you will say it. goes a long way towards achieving that great audio recording filled with feeling, meaning, and influence. Now, this is my own article. I wrote this and read this. But the point is imagine thinking before you speak. So you're going to read a little bit ahead before you record it. And then you're going to think about it and you go, all right, I'm ready. Let's dive in and start recording. Number 10, record short, concise, individual audio recording tracks. When creating a long audio recording like a 2, 5, 10, 20-hour audiobook, it's wise to break up your audio recordings into individual tracks that can range from 5 minutes, 10, 15 minutes in length. This allows you to produce an audio product like an audiobook, where the listener can use the forward, backward track buttons to skip through your entire audio quickly with just a click of the button or a mouse. For instance, if you were to record a whole book in one long audio track without individual tracks, the listener would have to fast forward through one long track just to find the place where they listened to last. That won't work. In this particular case, also, I'd like to mention that when you record your audio and you don't take breaks or put pauses or record your words a little bit individually on their own, you can see how this just kind of blends together, okay? The words are spoken so closely together without any pauses and breaks or clear distinction, even between whole thoughts or phrases. This will make editing your audio hard later. Words that glide together in speech, making them hard to edit later, not good. In this audio recording, right here, you can see the words recorded are spoken in clear and concise patterns with appropriate pauses, breaks, and clear distinction between whole thoughts and phrases. This will be much easier to edit later. Words, phrases, and concise thoughts are separated nicely with a slight pause. And this tip here, upload your audio in bite-sized chunks or basically in different sections. So you have, again, Chapter 1, MP3, Chapter 2, MP3, Chapter 4, 5, 6. Each of those are individual audio recordings. Number 11, be mindful of any and all noise around you. You'd be surprised how your little microphone picks up the sound your laptop fan makes, the cars driving by your house outside, the plane flying overhead, or the bird chirping outside your window. To see if your microphone picks up any of these types of noises, try to record them. Then play back the audio and listen intently with your headphones. Do you hear anything? If so, do something about it. If not, you're okay. I got a great tutorial on this in this series on recording audiobooks. Make sure you check it out. You know, being mindful of all the noises around you, so important, so important. Number 12, record, stop, listen, edit, and move on. When recording long audio programs, it's a good idea to record small sections of your audio program, stopping the recording process every now and then to catch your breath, and then listen to your audio and edit it at the same time. You know, check to be sure you're not picking up any strange extra little sounds or unwanted noises. You can also check to see how your voice is recording. How's it sound? Do you sound tired? Do you sound rushed? Make adjustments. It's also good to catch mistakes early on in the recording process and re-record them while you're in the moment and the phrase is fresh in your head, than to revisit that particular session hours, maybe days later when you're tired and you just don't want to open up everything in the recording software and, no. One small recording at a time. That's how the recording process should go, controlled and calculated from start to finish. Hey, number 13, the best recording times are. What are they for you? Do you live alone? Do you have roommates? Do you have a family? Find the time that's best for you to record and stick to that schedule and get that audiobook recorded. I've got a couple of tips here. Wait at least an hour after you wake up before you start recording. Our voices need time to warm up for the day, or else they sound groggy and stuff. So I say, I want to get going. No, not for an hour. You got to kind of talk to somebody, call somebody, talk to them, warm up the voice. Also, don't record too late at night. This is true, even though I like to record at night. I don't record too late at night because it's been a long day. Your vocal cords are tired. Who knows? No, 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 no. Just like imagine a speaker who's been speaking all day, even their voice will grow tired after constant use. So the same applies for recording late at night. 14, transitions. Pay attention to how you transition between topics within your audio recording and how you move from one word to another, one phrase to another, one section to another. Pause for emphasis. When you're speaking and you want to emphasize something important, pause just for a moment before or after what you would like to add emphasis to. Do you know what I mean? Don't pause too long, of course, or the listener might think, where'd they go? Something wrong with my headphones or the volume? Or smooth as glass. Your words should flow like molasses. One word right after the other to keep the listener attentive and always listening. Practice makes perfect. The more you record, the better at it you're going to get. So if you're struggling with a group of words or a particular sentence, perhaps an entire section, pre-read the section a few times before recording it. Reword any sentence that needs adjustment. I've done that before. Sometimes it's better to reword a sentence or two, only to find out when you record it, it sounds far better than how it read. So, good stuff. How you liking these tips? 15, preparation tips. Practice reading your audio script before you start to record. Kind of talked about that earlier. Don't have a script for what you want to record? Are you going to record something off the top of your head, like I've done before? Perhaps you know the topic so well you can just start talking. Well, how about writing a few introductory statements just to start your audio recording off with a little form and precision? It should be emphasized that the beginning of your audio recording is one of the most important pieces to your audio recording and the most heard by your listeners. They might not make it to hour number 4, but they will make it to minute number 1. So do take just a few minutes to write up a few sentences or phrases that really jumpstart your audio just right. Also, if you're winging it from scratch, why not have a small outline as to what you will cover in your audio from your own notes? I do that all the time. In fact, so many of these videos on my channel, I had an outline and the introductory statements already kind of written out word for word. And then as I recorded them, they were perfect. They were solid. And then maybe I had to go record something just off the cuff. Had to ad lib what I was doing with the screen or some kind of software. Well, that was okay. I could be a little, here you go, just like this. Oh, yeah, But for the most part, I was still working off of an outline, and they help your audio come across as organized. Hey, this concludes part 1 of 2, my personal audio recording tips and techniques. Come on, let's tune into the next video tutorial in the series, and we'll do part 2, audio recording tip and technique number 16 through 18. Come on, let's check it out. I hope you're learning a lot with my personal audio recording tips and techniques.